we've got a lot of really cool things happening in One Piece at the moment. But is there one particular moment that you're waiting for in One Piece?
I want Buggy to get respect. That sounds vague. That sounds really vague.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for Buggy's big break more than anything. Because like obviously Buggy's a meme. Buggy's a huge meme. But he is somehow a Yonko right now. And the second Buggy was revealed like as like, oh, he's a warlord, I'm like, oh, he's gonna be a Yonko. He's gonna be like, it wasn't even a question that Kid was gonna be a Yonko. Like, no. People who thought Kid or Law would be Yonkos, I'm like, are you reading the same story I'm reading? Like, Buggy is gonna be the Yonko. But I think Buggy, like, legit, he's gonna have that moment. And it's gonna be crazy to see Buggy do something. But like, think about how like Buggy has been in the story for almost not even almost over 1,000 chapters, and he's been on the most parabolic exponential increase. I think Elbaf is going to be like a battle royale arc where like so many characters show up. Like Shanks is probably going to be there still. I think Akainu is going to be there. Blackbeard's going to be there. Like the final war will start on Elbaf. If Buggy and the Cross Guild pop up, I can't wait to see what happens there.
Yeah, like look at this man. Like time and time again, he's been up here in the midst of all this chaos, up in here. Like that's the trajectory, that he's going to go and keep moving forward, keep doing great things. But for him to get the respect, I wonder what that entails. Whether him having like a big moment, like it's like, I don't know, even like if like Luffy or someone like stares at the camera, just like just kind of like whoa, like if they just acknowledge that, wow, okay. I'm really interested to see what that really means, because it's a bit of a vague statement, but that could mean anything.
Yeah,
but the acknowledgement of Buggy, the acknowledgement
of Buggy, like not even as a joke. It's like, hold up, this is the guy who isn't damaged by Mihawk whatsoever. This guy, like stuff like that is crazy.
Yeah,
like, and it's obviously a joke, obviously, but that's part of the fun.
Unless
because like for example, Usopp is one of my favorite characters in the whole series. And he's a huge joke. He's a huge joke, but he gets respect. You know what I mean? Like God Usopp, he's a god for a reason. He did stuff. And like him having his observation moment in Dressrosa, I was like, oh my god, it's time. Like stuff like that is awesome. And so that's another like Elbaf like big hope. This is Usopp's big break. He's gonna do something insane. David versus Goliath vibes are going to be at 100% there. Maybe he'll even defeat a giant. That would be crazy. Or like giving these characters who are jokes, like the moments that are like, they deserve the respect, Yeah. And Usopp already has like tons of those, obviously.
If you really kind of like step back and look at the whole cast of characters at the moment, it's like, well, here's Usopp, and like he's in the end stages of the story. He's a part of a Yonko crew. And so when you have all these characters in these end stages of the story, you want to have these big breaks, these big payoffs for them, because they're rightfully deserved to be there. Is there any sort of particular thing, like a reveal, that you're anticipating for Elbaf with Usopp? Because that's a big thing with me too, is that I want Usopp to go and have his big break. I want him to go and have his true shine. How like we've had Sanji, we've had Zoro, we've had Luffy, had all of them. But then Usopp, I want him to truly have that like awakening moment where it's kind of like, oh my god, it's time for me now to step onto the stage, like final stage. He can still be the same character he is and be a bit kind of, childish and everything, goofy, because that's who he is. But then to have that moment where like I can step into the ring and then I can go and fight with these big guys. Like I want that moment for him.
I want it so bad, bro. So this is like a twofold answer to what you just said, right?
Okay.
So, okay. So you're gonna have to hear me out.
Okay. You're
gonna have to hear me out.
All right. Yeah.
It's one of two things. I want either of them to happen. If either of them happen, Elbaf is undisputably one of the best arcs in the series. It doesn't even matter what else happens. It doesn't even matter.
Whoa. All right.
Okay. If Usopp realizes that he's brave, and maybe even the bravest Straw Hat because of what he's done, like he's scared, but he still does all this stuff. I want something along that line to even be said. If something like that is said, phenomenal. Okay. You know what I mean? Like people finally, like, this is like, again, giving Usopp the respect. Like he's a coward. He's very scared and he runs away and it's
Yep.
a joke. But guess what he does? He still does everything everyone else does at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, like, obviously, Luffy, super brave character, but Luffy's never scared of anything.
Yeah,
So Luffy does have to overcome that hurdle to do
that's
stuff.
right.
Usopp does constantly. And stuff like that. Like, if that's
Yeah.
said, like, imagine some he has a conversation with like a giant or someone. He's like, I can't. I'm such a coward. I'll never be like you guys. You
Mm.
who are so brave.
Yeah.
And then there's a giant who's like, I'm afraid. Like something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like imagine like that
Yeah,
alone. It's
yeah.
like yes, like stuff like that. Like Usopp deserves respect. He
Mm-hmm.
deserves respect. Like especially when people are like Usopp's the worst Straw Hat. I'm like, bro, are you reading the same story? Are you actually reading the
Stop.
same story I'm reading?
Stop it.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But the other moment, and I had the pleasure of talking about this when I was graciously thrust into the reverie,
Mm-hmm.
shouts to Randy,
Yep.
and I was talking about my Usopp Mjolnir theory, which is
Mm-hmm.
obviously a pretty common theory, but the way he gets it is how I basically want to get this to happen. So Kid, obviously, shout outs to him, he's scrapped in Kid right now. He is stuck on Elbaf, which
Mm-hmm.
makes me think, okay, he's gonna try and come back. Maybe he'll work with Loki, who is probably the villain to Usopp in this arc, right? Which would be interesting, right? And maybe there's like a Mjolnir thing in Elbaf, whether it be like an Excalibur situation, Sword in the Stone. You get the
Mm-hmm.
vibes,
Yeah.
something along that line, where it's like
Yeah.
only those who are worthy can pick it up
Mm-hmm.
and wield it, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And Kid, having magnetism powers, is going to try and fail because Kid is,
Mm-hmm.
he's Kid. He's not worthy of picking it up as much as like Usopp.
Yeah.
That's obviously who I think is going to get it. And maybe he could even do a thing where the hammer isn't actually made of metal at all. It's made of wood, like
Mm-hmm.
the atom wood. That could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously Usopp getting the hammer, that relates to the hammer gag he's had throughout the entire series with Perona,
Mm-hmm.
with Miss Merry Christmas, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that as well. Usopp getting Mjolnir while Kid is unable to get it. I think that'd be fire. But especially the scene of him saying like he'll never be like a giant because he's afraid, and then that basically if either of them happen, it's like yes. Or if they both happen, yes.
There's so many ways you can take that to where what is going to be the requisite to justify him picking it up, not just because like yeah he's worthy, but is it because like Molyneux has like a spirit within it, and it's like it chooses kind of who it wants to, whether it be someone that has overcome great adversity, like you said, becoming brave, some sort of thing that will tie up with Usopp becoming brave, and by wielding Molyneux, we'll have that moment because he said having that acknowledgement with himself, saying yes, I am brave, can be personified by him holding the hammer because like look, the hammer chooses someone who is brave, and by
Mm-hmm.
picking that up, that's going to be the light bulb moment because yes, I am that, and that would be really really a powerful moment. It'd be really really cool, and then also I think it'd be really neat is he already has these powers within him, like the strength, and it's kind of you have to kind of be self-aware enough to let it happen. So like if he has his powers within him, if he picks up the hammer, that's his moment to go, yes, I am brave. And then by having that kind of confidence and that realization allows him to innately use his power within him. And that would be really
Mm-hmm.
that'd be a really cool moment too. At the end of the day, if the focus of the arc revolves in some point around Usopp, that's a win. Because yeah, Usopp up there is one of my favorite characters too. The fight with Luffy at Water 7, that just really sticks with me as one of my favorite moments, just because it really just shows how smart he is, and it really
Mm-hmm.
puts him up there as a formidable person. And also just the emotional weight of the situation was insane. Like I absolutely love that. Everything wrapped around that whole fight was awesome. And that's really stuck with me. And it's a shame that we haven't necessarily had that kind of feeling, that kind of moment since then. And I hope that Usopp has a bit of a turnaround in Elbaf, and there's a big focus on him because yeah, I want that for him. I really do want that for him.